and welcome back to the Business Real Talk. And on this brand new start of our series, we're going to go through and break down how to set your business up for scaling. So whether you're a business that's currently in scaling mode and you're navigating everything that comes into effect during this time, or you just know that your business is in it for the long haul and you want to ensure that you set your business up for its scaling right here and right now, this series is going to be exactly what you need so that you can set up your business with the strategies, understanding the common pitfalls, and all the growth opportunities that are going to set your business up for scaling. So let's get real and let's get into it.
Are you ready?
We're ready.
In today's episode, I want to break down for you how to explore the crucial concept of customer retention so that you can actually set up your business to 4x your revenue quickly and with less resources. Now, let me be totally real with you. Most of you are sleeping on the idea of customer retention. You're thinking that customer retention is something nice to have, and you're putting it on the back burner, but you're burying your head in the sand, wondering what you need to be doing in your business to scale your revenue and results without being so resource exhaustive. Now, newsflash, client retention is the answer to those needs. Client retention is how you set your business up for long-term scaling without getting caught up in constant resource exhaustion and spending more and more in order to get where you need to be. Now, I want to be totally real with you. It's easy to get caught up in the acquisition cycle. We're trying to ensure that you have new clients coming in the door every single week, and it's not really your fault. That's the narrative being shoved down your throat by all the big mentors. We're talking about growing this big, huge team, creating a suite of products to juggle, and throwing more and more money into ads in order to get more people in the door. And listen, client acquisition is absolutely important, but arguably, client retention is actually more important. But don't just take it from me. I need you to understand that some of the most heavy hitters, the most successful and sustainable brands, and those that have been able to stand the test of time by taking over brand share with powerful retention strategies. I'm talking about companies like Amazon, Apple, all of these big name companies like Coke and Uber and so on. They understand the power and benefit behind creating a retention strategy because again, retention is arguably more important and more lucrative to your business than anything else when it comes to scaling. Now, think of it this way. If you set your business up to scale and you do everything right with client acquisition, but you haven't really developed the results mechanisms in your business, you haven't created a retention strategy, you're always going to need to fill your pipeline. You're always going to need to add more people in order to hit your revenue goals. That means at any given point, your business fails to run when you're not consistently filling your pipeline with new people. Now, client retention involves developing the strategies and implementing actions that are going to foster customer loyalty. They're going to encourage your repeat purchases, and they're going to cultivate long-term relationships with customers, which is realistically what a sustainable business looks like. Rather than you solely focusing on acquiring new customers day in and week out, customer retention is going to emphasize the importance of maintaining and nurturing the customers a business already has.
You got that right.
Now, here's a statistic that I just need you to hear. I need you to let this hit home for you. The probability of selling to an existing customer, AKA in retention, is going to be 60 to 70%, okay? Now, on the flip side of that, the probability of selling to a new customer is only between 5 and 20%. The difference is staggering. And if that doesn't say something about the absolutely huge opportunity and the money that you're currently leaving on the table with retention, I don't know what else will. Now, what I really want you to be able to walk away with is that retaining existing customers is going to consistently ensure a steady stream of revenue for your business because loyal customers are more likely to create repeat purchases that are going to result in consistent sales and they're going to reduce your reliance on these sporadic new client acquisition processes. Now, I want you to think about it this way. When ad costs rise, and let's be real right now, they are, and client acquisition in general has become one of the most difficult states it has been in years, I want you to understand that your business does not need to simply be reliant on acquiring new customers. It's always going to be more expensive than actually being able to retain your existing customers. So let's jump into it and talk about how we can leverage client acquisition in your scaling strategy so that you can create more revenue, but also being able to increase your brand reputation and trust, which means faster conversions, better clients, all the things you're looking for. Because your client retention strategy isn't just going to create the financial and revenue opportunities that your business needs to scale, you're also going to be able to increase your brand reputation and trust. And the reason why is high customer retention rates are always going to be associated with a positive brand reputation and your customers' trust. That means that your customers are going to stay loyal to your business over time. And it's immediately going to signal that businesses are consistently delivering value, quality, and customer satisfaction, leading to the fact that you no longer have to work so hard to build your authority because others are going to do that for you, allowing you to market less, earn more, create a better business model. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about a business that does this so famously. I want you to understand the concept behind retention in what you're experiencing with a company that I promise you've experienced client retention with. And they've leveraged this not only in their entire client acquisition process, but all the way through to post-purchase processes. So the company I'm talking about is Amazon. I want you to hear how they're leveraging client retention so that you can start to understand and adopt some of the theories that they're using to create a massive revenue stream in their business without extra effort or energy. Now, one of the most biggest and most powerful things that Amazon has done is that they've created their Amazon Prime membership. You maybe haven't even given it a second thought, but it's an example of a powerful retention strategy that has been leveraged at the beginning of a business model. Now, what Prime does is it offers really incredible benefits like 2-day shipping and access to exclusive deals and discounts and a vast library of streaming content. Now, what it's actually doing in the client retention end is that it's creating immediate brand buy-in, because when you purchase a Prime membership, the reality is you're in it for the long haul. But on top of that, it's building in retention, because what happens from this is you're more likely to purchase consistently, encouraging that customer loyalty because you're set up with all the benefits that make you want to buy. Now, a staggering statistic to bring this home for you is that the power behind Amazon Prime is that they have a 30-day conversion rate of 69%. Now, already that's an amazing opportunity for retention. But let's take it one step further. In the first year, the renewal rate is 93%. That means that when someone jumps into Amazon Prime, the next year, they're renewing 93% of the people who initially joined. Now, to take it one step further, after that first year, after they've been in Prime for at least a year, their renewal rate jumps up again to 98%. How many businesses can say that they're retaining almost every single person they bring into an offer? Imagine that. Imagine for your business, if you were able to even retain 50% of the people you brought into an offer, what would that change in your business? You would no longer need to market so much. You would no longer need a huge staff. You would be able to create and hit the revenue goals you have for yourself without needing to put a ton of extra work into it. Now, not only does Amazon leverage the Prime membership as a retention strategy, and honestly, a brilliant one at that, but they also have incredible, sophisticated algorithms that leverage data analysis so that they can understand your browsing and purchasing history. Now, that's a fancy way of saying that they are able to get people to buy more and come back for more because you feel so connected and you feel like there's a personalized experience within the process that you're going through. Meaning that when you show up and your goal was maybe just to purchase one jacket, you come in and you see all these incredible personalized recommendations for you and you want to purchase more. It creates a sense of relevance. It enhances that overall shopping experience. So now that we understand what they're leveraging within the actual purchasing period, let's talk about post-purchase, because that's where really most people think about retention in general. It's after somebody's made a purchase. Now, what Amazon's doing really freaking well is that they leverage their customer review system. Now, you may not have even given it a second thought, but the customer review system plays a huge role in customer retention because it allows the customers to share experiences, provide feedback on products. And not only does it create a feedback loop for Amazon to really consistently get better in their business model, it fosters trust. It also fosters transparency because prospective buyers can make informed decisions based on the reviews that they're seeing. It's enhancing their overall shopping experience and making them feel good about making purchases. And one other post-purchase strategy that Amazon uses is the subscribe and save feature. Ultimately, what this allows people to do is schedule a recurring delivery for a frequently purchased item at a discounted price. This means that services create a convenience for customers. It locks in their loyalty. It promotes these repeat purchases without doing any extra work on the prospective client's part. And if you're wondering right now, you're saying, Naz, these sound amazing, but how the hell am I going to integrate this into my service-based business model? Have no fear. I'm going to show you exactly how you can do this in just a little bit. So let's jump in and start talking about how we can leverage retention and stop thinking of it as an afterthought and put it as a proactive process we jump into. Now, the reality is most businesses are making retention an afterthought. They're expecting that their job should end at acquiring a client. And let's be real, how many of you are sitting here thinking, yeah, that's my business?
That's me.
Now, what's happening is one of two things. One is that maybe you're creating a ascension model in your business. That's what you've been taught. And it feels like you're herding cattle, right? You're bringing people into your offers and hoping or expecting that they move into the next step for you. But what's happening is we're not taking into account the fact that each customer or client has their own experience and therefore requires their own individual pathway to their next step. Right now, you're treating all your customers the same without considering their unique preferences and needs, and it's going to hinder your client retention efforts. Now, imagine this on the flip side. Imagine that you go to a restaurant, okay? You're receiving the same meal as everyone else in the restaurant, regardless of your dietary preferences, your taste preferences, or restrictions that you might have. Now, the restaurant fails to take into account your individual preferences and needs, and that results in you having a lackluster dining experience. Now, the reality is that's similar to what's happening inside of your business right now. You're neglecting the personalization and individualization that creates this generic experience for all of your customers without considering their unique preferences, their needs, their expectations. Now, just as the restaurant's generic meal fails to satisfy a customer's individual taste, businesses are neglecting that opportunity to create a tailored and engaged experience for each of their customers. This can lead to customer disengagement, decreased satisfaction, and ultimately a higher likelihood of customer churn. Now, what we know is that personalization plays a significant role in creating a sense of value and connection to our customer. But what I also want you to realize is that oftentimes we see businesses that simply assume that if they give their clients great value and create customer satisfaction, that that's going to equal customer retention. Now, I know that in a perfect world, that sounds amazing. I get it. My clients get great results, and that should equate to them sticking around and working with me, right? Wrong. Customer satisfaction is important, but it doesn't actually guarantee customer retention. Now, over the last 12 years, I've spoken to countless businesses about client acquisition and retention. And some of the most successful businesses are priding themselves on creating amazing client results. But the question of how that they're leveraging those results to create retention is that they've missed out on that opportunity. They've yet to connect the results that their clients are getting to how they actually move that into retention and how they maintain that. Now, in both of those examples I shared, they're both leaving retention as an afterthought. But just as we showed with Amazon, retention is a strategy that should be baked in from the moment someone meets you and your business all the way throughout the purchasing process, throughout the post-purchase experience. Your business is set up to react right now to your client's needs. Let me repeat this. Retention should be a proactive process in a business rather than a reactive one. So how exactly do we do this? How do we create proactive retention in our business? Let's start with understanding that proactive retention comes down to setting your business up for scale and actively and preemptively addressing your customers' needs, concerns, and expectations before they become a problem. Because what happens is when we leverage reactive programming in our clients and how we deliver our services, we create customer churn. Think of it this way. Someone comes into your container with the excitement and anticipation of creating a result, but somewhere along the way, the wheels fall off and they aren't quite getting their needs met. So what happens is they come out the other side feeling like they're not quite where they want to be, leaving you to creating customer churn and a lack of retention. This is why a huge part of our EasyS method focuses on the results we provide our clients and how we bridge that gap to retention. To give you a quick example of what this would look like, it's like having a doctor that's not integrating preventative care. Now, proactive retention compared to that doctor looks a little bit like this. Imagine that there's a doctor right now and he doesn't integrate preventative care, meaning he's only seeing patients when they get sick, when they have a problem, when something goes wrong. Now, proactive retention on the other side would look like a doctor who's educating patients. He's creating healthy habits. He's conducting regular checkups, and they're catching the potential issues before they even happen. Similarly to that doctor, our business needs to create a proactive model where we prioritize the preventative care for our customers. It creates the education, the support, the regular check-ins that addresses any of the emerging concerns before they become a major problem. So here's what I need you to understand. Retention is going to happen in phases. And I'm going to break down for you what the 3 phases of retention look like.
Here comes the good part.
Phase number 1 is scaling results. So we know that in order to get to a place where we can retain our clients, we need to be able to get a client a result, meaning jumping forward to retention, creating a bunch of offers, or focusing solely on client acquisition leaves the fact that we need to be able to attain results for our clients at scale. So if you're not able to achieve the same results for your clients when you're working with 10 versus 100, that is phase 1 of the retention process, ensuring that your business model, your delivery, and your result systems are set up to be able to create those scalable results so that you're not losing out on the opportunities that are at hand when somebody comes into your business and providing them the excellent success that you have promised, okay? Because in order to create retention, we have to create success first and foremost. Without that, we take a toll on our retention, and it's honestly going to hurt your brand reputation and the authority that you've built so far. So that's phase 1, is focusing on creating scalable client results. For my clients and in my business, we focus on what we call results mechanisms, which allow us to ensure that whether we're working with 10 clients or 100, we're able to create the same consistent results over and over again throughout the process, leveraging things like education, support, and implementation throughout the process. So there's a whole system behind how we do this, but all that to say that you need to walk away from this understanding that step 1, phase 1 in this process really needs to be, do you have a way to ensure that your clients get the consistent results that you promised at scale, whether it's 10 clients or 100, they're able to achieve the same or similar results, okay? Now, after phase 1, we move into phase 2. Phase 2 is that we need to create a simplified retention strategy. Simply put, this is giving you the beginning foundation of creating retention in your business. And I'm going to show you some simplified retention strategies that you can actually implement here and now within the next week or so. But essentially what this means is, without needing to create new offers or completely revamp your entire business system, you can actually integrate some simplified retention strategies that allow you to create that consistently in your business here and now. It creates the foundation of what happens next after someone's finished working with you, which moves us into phase 3 of retention, which is the personalized or customized strategy behind retention, and how we really create a retention strategy from day 1 when somebody meets you, baking that into the entire acquisition, retention, and post process.
I love that.
So we'll talk a little bit about what those 2 different things look like, but I want you guys to understand that there are phases and we don't jump into retention before we are able to really create scalable results. And then we move into the simplified strategy and then baking in more customization and personalization. Now, number 1, one of the easiest things that you can start leveraging in your business to create retention is what I call an outro membership. Now, before I jump into the outro membership and how to actually start leveraging those, I need to caveat this that I personally do not agree with or do not like intro memberships. If you think of an intro membership as being how people are introduced to you coming directly into a membership and then trying to slowly move them into the next step. And the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of intro memberships are that it's oftentimes really resource taxing. It also sets your business up to attract low intent buyers because you're bringing in the wrong type of people who don't necessarily prioritize creating the results they want. They're kind of dilly-dallying around with it. But it also oftentimes has a low back-end conversion because it's either too heavy on education, therefore making it difficult or unnecessary for people to ascend into the next step, or there's not enough education and it leaves people dissatisfied. So intro memberships are definitely tricky, not to say that they never work at all, but for me and what I support my clients in understanding is that I don't really recommend intro memberships in a business. And you're seeing a lot of these big name people who really promoted intro memberships taking a different stance on this, now recognizing the downside of intro memberships. Now, on the other side of this, and where I think memberships can be really freaking powerful, are what I call outro memberships. Outro memberships are amazing. It's essentially that when someone's finished completing working with you, it gives them an opportunity to continue on that relationship with you. So whether you're working with clients one-on-one, in a group, a mastermind, or even if we're in a done for you capacity, it essentially creates a bolt-on way to retain your clients and continue the support that you've been giving them without the need for education. So think about it this way. Imagine someone goes through your group program, they're rocking and rolling, and they're feeling really amazing, but you understand that long-term, there may be some optimizations that come up, or there's mindset issues that they may experience. Now, an outro membership can come in and allows you to fill for that gap and create an opportunity to retain that client, but not necessarily need to fill a whole other offer. So you can create support, you can create accountability. So imagine you being able to run twice a month group calls where they're able to come get their questions answered. And maybe you've even baked in some accountability into that outro membership. This works really well. And I have a client who did this really freaking successfully. When she came to me, we sat down and we built out our entire group program. But on the tail end, I asked her, what's next after someone's done working with you? How are we going to be able to retain them? And she had no idea. So we developed an outro membership. And as a result, she was able to consistently bring in the same revenue month after month, even when she wasn't actually bringing new people into her flagship program. So I want you to think about that. This creates an incredible retention opportunity in your business where you can consistently and continually serve your audience without necessarily needing to create any new type of offers. So option number 2 is pre-programmed retention. Now, I'll tell you honestly, when I was going through this initially before I created pre-programmed retention, it totally threw me for a loop. I would get on a sales call with somebody, and before they've even said yes to working with me, their question would be, what's next? What happens after I've completed the program? And I would think, oh my gosh, you don't even know if you like me. You don't even know if we're going to work well together. But what I realized that was in understanding the psychology around longevity and buy-in, what happens is when we use the method-based selling process that I use in my easiest method, you realize that people fully buy into what you're doing, meaning that when people come in to work with you, they're not just looking at it from a standpoint of, here's the container I'm moving into. They're anticipating with you how they're going to be with you for the long haul because they believe that that method is the answer to their question and to their needs for the long term. So essentially, pre-programmed retention is what we've now built into our sales call process, because when someone comes in, we want to help them anticipate and let them know what the next steps are so they can see that. So I want you kind of just to understand that a great way to do this is within your sales call process or even within your marketing process, letting them know what the stages of development are so they can see how they're specifically moving into that. That means that when they're moving to the next step, it doesn't feel like it's coming out of left field, and it really builds trust and authority into that process and makes them feel really good about the long-term relationship we're really creating for them. Now, the third and final thing that we leverage within a retention strategy that you can implement right here and right now is honestly one of the most overlooked areas and one of the easiest of them all. It's integrating re-enrollment. There's so many people that when I ask them, how come you're not re-enrolling your clients? They say, what do you mean? Re-enrollment simply looks like that someone's already gone through your program and maybe you only have one offer right now, your flagship signature offer. Someone goes through that at the end of that program. If you don't have another place to move them to, you can move them into a re-enrollment, meaning that you're giving them a discount or an incentive to re-enroll it back into that program. And you don't necessarily need to add any new calls, new content, new anything. They're able to get the continued benefits that they had when they were previously in the program. We leverage this inside of my Sustainable Profit Academy because it's a powerful and easy way, especially since we're building out so many incredible pieces throughout an entire growth and scaling opportunity. So we can use re-enrollment quickly into the business model because it allows our clients to have this ability to re-enroll into the program and continue the support they're getting, get their questions answered, continue all the things that they're getting, which really gives them long-term success there. Okay. And I want you guys to understand that this allows you to create retention without needing to go build a bunch of new stuff. This is a huge part of what we teach in the EZS method and why it's so powerful, because unlike what most people are teaching out there in the business world, they're focused solely on client acquisition. What we really pride ourselves on is understanding that client acquisition and retention are exactly what a business needs to create sustainable scaling within their business model. We understand the power behind being able to leverage your retention strategy in your business model. So you can increase your revenue and truly be able to move your business to scale without scaling the resources you put into it. And this is exactly why our third pillar of the EZS method is results and retention, where we can create proactive programming that's really allowing you to scale the client results you're getting for your clients, be able to create consistent results over and over again, and then be able to build in and bolt on retention within your programs and your scaling system. And then that brings us back to the start of the EZS method and why we truly believe at looking at this holistically is because growth and scaling is one of the most overlooked things. And what I've noticed over 12 years is that you really need to anticipate every step in the client acquisition and retention process. There are so many people who are jumping through hoops trying to get to the next step and telling themselves that, what worked to get to the first million isn't going to help you to get to the second million. But the reality of it is when you set your business up to scale from the very beginning, your business should be able to create those results year in and year out. It's the reason I have clients who have come back to me 11 years later, still using the same strategies, the same systems to be able to consistently grow and scale their businesses year after year. So as always, we hope that you enjoyed this week's training and come back for our next ones where we're going to break down some of the personal things that I've gone through when it comes to scaling so that you can understand the pitfalls that so many scaling businesses go through so that you can actually anticipate them and completely avoid them altogether. We'll also talk a little bit about what I call ethical scaling and why this is so important to your business model so that you ensure not only the success of your business, but the success of everyone else's around you, including your clients. And then we'll talk a lot about how this actually looks like to create scalability within your business so that you can create the operational standpoint of getting your business to the next level. So as always, we appreciate when you subscribe, share your feedback, and share this episode with a friend. But until next time, thanks for keeping it real.